Now we're running through and organizing or moving our parts so that we can minimize the amount of pages we're using overall. It's essentially just a game of Tetris. If you'd like to organize things, you will probably enjoy trying to make things fit as best as possible on the page. I try to move the larger pieces first, and then we'll come back later and infill any white spaces we have with the smaller pieces or smaller parts. So that looks pretty good for our largerish type parts. I'm not too concerned with how the parts go together on the model. I don't need to have all the visor parts on a page or anything like that. I'm not too concerned with doing that. But I do want to maintain my symmetry. For the most part. You'll notice I've kind of used my 2D board and kind of spread things around while I've been working with them. So as I'm running through and organizing the pieces for their final layout, I need to migrate things back up to the top a little bit. These tabs can overlap the border. You don't need to cut those out. Precisely when you're cutting out the cardstock paper you're using to build the model. Now I will infill open spaces with our smaller parts that are remaining. And I'll move this up just so I have the blank page at the end of the 2D layout. I'll save this. As a final move, I will edit my tab layout. When we first did the unfold, we had the tabs every other edge, and I didn't like that, but you don't want an edge to be completely void of tabs. You want to have, I try to shoot for 3 tabs open, 3 tabs closed, 3 tabs open, just so when you're putting the paper together, you're actually kind of interlocking the tabs. And I kind of wait till the end to refine that, because now I've got my final parts layout. I can zoom out and see what makes sense for where the parts go. Again, I want to keep in mind that I want the tabs on the thinner strips than the thicker strips. So as I'm comparing, I've got my flap tool selected. As I'm looking at this red line that shows me where it's connecting, I'm wanting these tabs to be on the thinner piece or part rather than the thicker part. So here's a pretty thin part. I would like some of these tabs on its adjacent part, so I'm going to go to the thickest part, thickest section of this part, and move those over to the other side. Here I'm seeing this side is quite a bit thicker than this side, so I'll move some of those tabs back that way. That's pretty much a horse apiece, so I'll leave that where it is. So I usually try to alternate 2 or 3 tabs. That's that thinner part there, so I'm probably going to end up leaving it just like that. That's probably fine. Might move 1 or 2 there. That's fine. That's that thinner part again, so I'll leave that like that. Thinner part again over here, so I'll leave that like that. I'll move this guy, that guy. So this is actually, since it doesn't have an adjacent part, you can tell that's the neck seal over there. I'll move a couple of those. A couple of those. That's fine. That one's okay. That one I think is fine. These, I'm going to leave all these on this outer edge, and I'll leave all those on that outer edge. Move a couple over there. Actually, I move that back because it's kind of getting thin where that comes in. I'm going to backtrack on what I said. I'm actually going to move some of those tabs over here. Here we've got some thinner strips that I'll move the tabs from these thicker strips back towards. These are probably okay. Those are fine. These look fine for the most part. That section's a bit thick, and I don't have any tabs on this side, so I'll go ahead and move those over there. Actually, put those back. Again, there's no adjacent edge, so that's part of the neck seal. And concerning these pieces, we see it connects up here. Both of these strips are larger or thicker than these strips. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is for the most part, I'll move the tabs over to this, but again, I want to alternate a little bit too, so I will leave some tabs on this and some tabs on that. And really, there you have it. You've got your pieces pretty symmetrical. The tabs are symmetrical, so you build both halves of the helmet, or whatever symmetrical model you're building, if it is symmetrical. Other things you could do, and what I like to do is when I do an unfold, I input some text to identify what the model is, who the model's by, and who the unfold is by. When you go to print it, I usually leave the color on. Again, you can turn that off so you can print it if you don't want to have the ink used to print the paper out. If you go to 2D menu, show edge ID, when you zoom in, you can see now that the edge ID is there. When you do put the edge ID, when you turn the edge IDs on and zoom in, it slows down things quite a bit. So usually when I'm working in the 2D area, I'll turn that off, and I try to turn it on before I save it and share it, so that people who are using the file and don't know about that don't have to worry about it. The tabs are already there. So I'll go ahead and save, and that pretty much wraps up the tutorial. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please post in the thread below. If not, thank you 405th for taking a beat and checking the tutorial out. Keep it tight, Spartans.